Elena Miller's been passionate about yoga since she was 13 years old. So when given the chance to buy a beautiful downtown Kitchener yoga studio in 2012, she saw it as more than an opportunity. She saw it as her calling. This is Queen Street Yoga. But when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, yoga studios had no choice but to shut down until further notice, which isn't in anyone's business plan. I'm heading in now to talk to Elena and learn how she plans on bouncing back.
It was during university that I got really dedicated to my yoga practice. It was a really big support for me. It was really supportive to my mental health, and that's what led me to pursue teacher training and wanting to share yoga. My dad had his own business, so that was like a familiar calling or life to me. This could get me emotional. My dad he's been a big supporter of me as a business person and as I grew as an entrepreneur. So I've watched him throughout my life grow in that process of becoming not just an entrepreneur, but a leader. I don't know if it's been intentional, but like through osmosis of seeing him grow and learn, it's definitely affected me. So Queen Street Yoga was founded in 2005 in this location on Queen Street, and I'm not the founder. Megan Johnson was the founder, and I began teaching yoga here in 2009. So after working as a manager at the studio for a year or two, the previous owner, Megan, and I started having conversations about whether I would be interested in buying into the studio. And at the time had just finished university, didn't quite know what I wanted to do with my life. I was super poor. I didn't own anything at all. I would bike all over town to teach, and teaching yoga is not very lucrative. But I was so passionate about it and I was having fun, and that's really what drove me. We have this small entrance on the street level, and then you come up a big flight of stairs up to the third floor, and people are always like astonished when they get up here. And I always feel like it's kind of like a secret treehouse or something when you're a kid and you like climb up to it, and like the view is different. So it's kind of this space that has become a refuge for people and draws people in. And I think a lot of people see yoga as intimidating or kind of hoity-toity, and then they come here and they're like, oh, this is just fun. You don't have to wear anything fancy. You can come in your sweatpants and your baggy old t-shirt. You can just be yourself at our studio. I think that we are distinct in a number of ways. One is the depth of our teaching experience. So I began teaching yoga in 2008, and many of the other instructors here have been teaching that long, some of them even longer than me. But we really pride ourselves on the depth of education and experience that the instructors here have. We really aim to create a practice that's accessible and useful for people. So you can come with the body you have. You don't have to be flexible to do yoga. You don't have to have a certain size or ability. That we've offered courses for years on yoga for round bodies to increase inclusivity in the yoga community and make the practice more accessible to people who thought maybe that yoga wasn't for them. But I think what sustained me and our business has been the relationships and the ways we've been able to give each other breaks and support each other. That's made us more resilient and more robust as a business. There was periods of growth and definitely periods of struggle financially for the studio. Personally, when I took over the studio, I had a really hard time balancing work, like finding work-life balance, that kind of elusive idea. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's very hard for that to exist. You do it because you love it, and it's always going to be a big part of your life, but you also need time off and you need boundaries. And I found the first year I worked way too many hours, worked really hard to grow the studio and do a lot with the studio, and I didn't pace myself very well, so it was exhausting, and there was times when I felt burnt out and didn't know how I would keep up that pace. We have a really big space, so we have a lot of room here. We have 3 studios. That's a blessing and a challenge to have so much space, so much square footage to pay for and to try to fill. It's quite expensive to have a big space that sits empty a lot of the time. Certain peak times of day we need a lot of space, and the rest of the time we're paying for that space. I think the biggest challenge for our business in the last few years has been just the increase of rents in Kitchener downtown. Adapting our business to that, those big changes in our lease has been tough. But I think most people who own yoga studios would agree that no one goes into running a yoga studio to make a lot of money. You do it because you love yoga, you want to create community.